Greetings and welcome to Disrupt Your Day Season 2, Emerging Business Culture with Petula Sankarsingh. I am the CEO and founder of VisionReady. Season 2 brings you a powerful lineup of women who dare to be change makers and disrupt your day. Welcome everyone to Disrupt Your Day Season 2 Emerging Emerging Cultures, actually. Today we have the beautiful Michelle, who is a powerhouse in the advertising, marketing, PR realm, but has recently kind of took her expertise into that and transferred it into now Meeschell, which is an online marketplace for natural products. And she will talk about her journey, being a woman, why she empowers women, as well as about her platform. It's, all women having a synergy together. And one of her saying is better together. And I love that. Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you. So tell us, how are things been going? Tell us about your journey from, I guess, well, you were in corporate, then you started your own advertising PR type situation, and now
Right.
you're into this and you empower women. So March is
Yeah,
our whole series on empowering women and
I
the
love it. I love it. I love it. So, yes, so my journey started about 22 years ago, actually. I worked for a couple ad agencies right out of college. And at the age of 26, I decided to start my own full service marketing agency, which is still in existence, Harthill Marketing Services.
Mhm.
That was interesting. It was the mid 90s.
Mhm.
So women in corporate America was the minority. Women entrepreneurs were certainly the minority. So it seemed to me at that time.
Yes.
And then, of
Still
course,
are.
which we still are, exactly. And at that young age, in addition to, I was just super naive,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I was blessed with a few folks mentoring me and kind of holding my hand. But
Yes.
more importantly, I've always been a big believer in trusting your gut and trusting the journey.
Mhm.
So I kind of just rolled with the punches and let things happen as they were supposed to.
Mhm.
Came across some amazing human beings, throughout my entire professional career, still
Yeah.
do. But most recently, what led me to launch Michelle,
Yes.
and I guess that's really when I started really dialing in my passion to really work with women entrepreneurs, women-owned brands.
Mhm.
With Harthill Marketing Services, I've always worked with globally known CPG companies. So
Mhm.
your Kraft Heinz, PepsiCo, ConAgra Foods. And that's when I really embraced the women in corporate America who had been there with these companies for quite some time. So they had a lot to teach me.
Mhm.
But as I journeyed through my career, I started teaching and mentoring at Cal State Fullerton here in Southern California. And for some reason, I would always kind of embrace the young ladies who were seniors in college, who were marketing majors, who wanted to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
About 7 years ago, I partnered with a colleague of mine who started a sales broker agency.
Mm.
And that was kind of my pivoting moment away
Yeah.
from corporate CPGs, because she focused on bringing onboarding emerging brands
Mhm.
owned by women minorities
Mhm.
that were in that natural, organic, eco-friendly space.
Okay.
So that was my first kind of
Mm.
experience to that world.
Oh my God. So, in seeing that, did you see that there was a challenge for minority women bringing their products to the market, bringing awareness? Was there a fair playing field with, this is a loaded question, but with like finances
No,
and,
I'm with you.
with doors being open for them, financing, that whole
Yeah,
equality kind of thing.
absolutely. So when I started working with these emerging brands as the marketing arm for the sales broker agency, which is Navigator Sales,
Okay.
um, I quickly became very involved in their brand building efforts.
Mhm.
And I kind of saw two sides to that. One was these women had phenomenal stories. Their
Mhm.
brand stories were very, very intriguing.
Mhm.
They were never business owners prior to starting these brands, developing these products. So that portion of what I did came into play because they didn't know how to market. Some of them didn't know how to sell,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it wasn't that they didn't want to, but as an entrepreneur overall, we get bombarded with wearing so many hats
Mhm.
that it
Mhm.
becomes super overwhelming very, very quickly.
Yes, it does.
So for me, it wasn't just simply marketing and selling their products to retailers. It was more about, okay, let me teach you what I know and let's talk about my experiences and let me kind of show you what you need to do. So
Mhm.
it becomes a partnership. And
Okay.
I think, amongst us women entrepreneurs,
Yeah,
a partnership is very, very necessary,
it is. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's really necessary. But even now with Meeschell, and Meeschell is indeed a e-retailer dedicated to women-owned natural brands.
Okay.
One of the biggest things that we do is we're better together. We work as a team. So when I
Yes.
onboard a new brand, we are co-marketing one another, we're supporting one another, we're collaborating because we can't do it. We should never do it by ourselves,
No.
ever, right?
Yes. Yes, I agree. I feel like that's very powerful because not only is it scary to become an entrepreneur and launch a brand, but then there's all those questions. How do I get it out into the universe? Who'll buy it? And you're already coming in to Michelle and having like a group of women
Yeah,
helping you get it, that a whole set of other voices, a
yeah.
whole set of audience of theirs, and within your ecosystem as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so so how is it going? How is it going for these women? How are they feeling? All that good stuff.
It's going very well. I can say that when I launched Michelle,
Mhm.
I was watching specific brands that I wanted to have as a part of the Michelle community
Mhm.
closely for about 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
When I reached out to them and said, this is what I'm doing, I mean, they were very intrigued. And it's interesting because some of them have corporate backgrounds. So
Yeah.
some of them, they were in corporate America. They knew
Yeah.
that life. They
Yeah.
didn't like it, or they got, they
Mhm.
realized that there was more to their journey than just being a part of corporate America, which has its own set of challenges, only because I became kind of involved in that culture for, 2 decades.
Yeah.
So some of them come with phenomenal marketing backgrounds, sales
Wow.
backgrounds,
Mhm.
people skills. So it wasn't a huge leap for them.
Okay.
What was a huge leap, and you kind of said it a couple seconds ago, is when you become a business owner and you're wearing all these hats,
Mhm.
you're also funding the business yourself.
Yeah. Mhm.
Unless you've got someone stepping in and saying, here's a bucket of money,
Exactly.
give me 51%, I'll give you this bucket of money. We are self-funding these businesses.
Yes, yes, yes. How do you feel if you guys are you guys going through to getting funding collectively for everyone on the platform, or how does that work within your system?
We haven't gotten that far yet. I
Oh,
think
okay.
currently, so Michelle launched in June of 2020.
Okay.
And because it's a marketplace and because I'm super I'll use the word picky about
Yeah.
who is a part of Meeschell.
And you should be.
Right. I mean, the natural ingredients boxes need to be checked,
Mhm.
packaging needs to be beautiful. The brand story needs to be aligned. Like I've got specific things that we look for.
Right.
Not to say that those that come to me that aren't immediately onboarded onto Meeschell doesn't happen, because I kind of see them as, well, this is what we can do to help you kind of get there. So
Yeah.
there's those cases as well. Because again, going back, you've got someone who's never been in this realm before,
Yeah.
and they don't know that their packaging needs to have specifics on it, or
Mhm.
anyway, all of the logistics that are kind of behind the scenes.
Okay.
So far with Michelle,
Mhm.
what I've been super focused on is just collaborating and bringing on, the best natural women-owned brands.
Yes. Mhm.
Us doing everything together, which
Mhm.
right now we're hyper focused on marketing,
Mhm.
because the more organic we can be, the better.
Right.
Our ultimate objective is to build this community
Mhm.
where people see us as the holistic lifestyle
Mhm.
go-tos,
Oh, right. Right.
and
That's awesome. Mhm.
yeah, and the fact that we're doing it as women entrepreneurs, I think just makes it even stronger.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So, in working with women entrepreneurs, minority women, in a whole, and women are considered minorities, right? We still are.
Mhm.
What do you see with running your first business, which is still it's been around for a long time, to now running Michelle and dealing, even diving deeper into the community with women. Uh, what do you think that needs to be done for change so that it's like a equal playing field for women in all areas, even like marketing and, finance,
Mhm.
from what you've seen throughout your journey?
Well, it's interesting. I'm a part of an organization called Network of Executive Women Southern California for
Mhm.
this region. And when I first joined 8 years ago,
Yeah.
these women are amazing,
Mhm.
but there was no men a part of the organization.
Right.
Fast forward 8 years later, men are getting involved.
Oh, okay.
Men are getting involved.
Why?
Great question. For a lot of them, I think that they completely understand and kind of grasp the fact that women lead in a different manner
Yeah,
than men. You know,
absolutely.
our mindsets are different. We can multitask all day long with no problems whatsoever.
Yes.
There's just skill sets that we bring to the table as leaders.
Yeah.
It makes men say, I need to have them in
Mhm.
my circle or on my team.
Right.
But so I use an example with Network Executive Women because 8 years ago, as I said, it was
Mhm.
truly all women.
Hmm.
Now more
Okay.
men are getting involved. And even though that's more of a networking perspective,
Yeah.
they see the value, but we still
Oh,
have a
okay.
long way to go.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, women do have a voice and they need to
We
be
do.
heard.
We do indeed.
So and seen in a better way, right? So I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So what's something people seem to misunderstand about you?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Um, Probably misunderstand about me. Well, I'm a pretty humble person. I'm a very giving person.
Mm.
I will stop what I'm doing in a heartbeat to help somebody else,
Oh.
especially if you're in my circle or even outside my circle.
Mhm.
I because I've been regimented over the years to kind of be, I'll use the phrase hard ass. I'm
Right.
really not. I mean, I can be.
Yes. You can be when you need to be, right?
Right, I can be. But I try to be very, very giving and very open-minded.
Oh, that's awesome. I think in our roles as CEO and running a company, there's levels that we have to have, right?
We have to,
Right.
especially when dealing with narcissistic men,
Then
which I found a lot when with my CPG corporate America days,
God,
more
yeah.
so than I do now, which I still, have them, but
Right.
even to that point,
Mhm.
20 years ago, and I'm not labeling all of them as being narcissistic,
Right.
but I dealt with a lot of men in corporate America and in my
Mhm.
CPG corporations as
Yeah.
clients.
Mhm.
And I always had the feeling that they felt like, they were a higher authority
Oh, okay.
than me or even the other women on their team.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think it was a learned behavior,
Yeah.
where now it doesn't seem to be so much that. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense because in my corporate experience, I've experienced the same thing where, well, I think I experienced it on maybe just a more challenging level. Being a woman of color, and having like a C-suite role and having like an
Mhm.
old boys club board, and kind of having to win them over. And they're not sure how to deal with you because they're just not used to it, which is
Right,
which is shocking in itself.
right.
And me being stern, but at the same time not being labeled as a bitch, right? So,
That's the balance.
yes,
That's what I meant earlier by hard ass.
exactly. So, right, and I got you. I knew what you were saying because, and I found it not to be fair for women because the same way a man, like, let's say it's just mimicked, and the same way a man would handle a situation, he would be pat on the back and saying, yes, that, it was a strong, powerful decision. And then when we do, we kind of have to like ease our way into it. So hopefully
We
that's
definitely have
changing.
to read the room first,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I mean, I became like immune to like literally walking into meetings and quickly reading the room and saying, and adjusting my personality
Mhm.
based upon who was sitting in that room.
Yes.
Where I don't think that men do that. Maybe
No,
they
they
do.
don't.
It just didn't seem that way.
So, all right. So thank you. So the next question I
Sure.
have for you is, what is the failure that you most cherish throughout your professional career?
The failure that I most cherish.
Mhm. Or if you want to look at it like a challenge, that you, as entrepreneurs, we're always going to have something shooting us down,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
it's how you actually process it. So yes.
I think, well, the one that comes to mind first
Mhm.
is when you become successful, when you feel like, okay, I've built and built and built, and now I can kind of level things out a bit.
Mhm.
At one point, I became super comfortable, and that was a
No.
huge mistake.
Ah, got it. Got
Because you take for granted that everything's going well,
it. Mhm.
clients are happy, business is good, everyone's, on the same playing field, on the same page, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden one day they're not. And it
Right.
just kind of starts doing this,
Mhm.
which is when pivoting becomes super important,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Which is another, behavior that again, a lot of women business owners that I've had relationships with,
Mhm.
when they hit that wall, they somewhat panic,
Yeah.
to where I did for a short, brief time,
Mhm.
but then it's like, okay, you've got to pivot. Something's got to change. You
Yeah.
got to get things back on track. So
Mhm.
I would say that was definitely a failure, but a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Um, about 10 or so years ago.
Okay. Great. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, right. And throughout that time, you've been in business for a while for yourself. Um, like what would you tell women as far as having, some resilience, some grit, staying positive, just, because, you get knocked down a couple of times throughout your journey. Like, what would your advice be to, minority women or, women of color, just, you know, come into their own and they just want to be entrepreneurs, but, sometimes the journey can be hard.
Absolutely. I think my best advice would be, and I kind of live by these words, is network and
Mhm.
keep your circle close.
Ah, okay.
I mentioned Network of Executive Women a couple seconds ago, and
Mhm.
there's lots of networking organizations. That was just the one that I seem to connect with the most.
Mhm.
But my point being, as women and as minorities, we certainly need to stay connected to those who kind of walk the walk and talk the talk,
Yes.
right? I mean, because I think about my circle and I can pick up the phone right now and call a handful of them who would drop what they're doing to help me
Mhm.
provide advice, provide assistance, even to say, pat me on the back and say, today's just a bad day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is going to be better. I think that we need that
Yeah.
because we get in our own heads so much.
Mhm.
Because again, we're by nature, we're multitaskers.
Mhm.
We just like to get things done.
Yes.
But when we get slammed against a wall,
Mhm.
we get aggravated and we tend to say, okay, now what will I do? Or what should I do?
Yeah.
And I think we need to have a support system. We need that
Yes.
circle of folks that says, this is what you're going to do.
Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. I call it my tribe. Like, I have to
Right.
have my tribe that, like you said, they drop anything and everything, if I'm in need, or, and it's very, very important to have that circle. It doesn't have to be very many people, you know,
No.
a little,
And
yeah.
even from a resources perspective, I think
Yeah.
that's another important piece of it is that we get to share resources because again,
Mhm.
my colleagues have different resources than what I have, but
Yes.
somehow we can bring them together because we're consistently sharing and collaborating with one another.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I always have your community, have your tribe, whoever that is.
have
Yeah,
to. You have to.
absolutely. So, so some of the amazing things coming up for you. Everyone that has listened to the podcast and follow us will get a 20% off
Yes.
their purchase with the code disrupt.
Yes.
And some other great perks that'll be in the description for Michelle. Definitely follow Michelle and Michelle and these women's journey, support them. Um, it's a great thing to see this happening, the collaboration, the better together, as
Yeah.
well as the natural products, because I primarily use natural products myself. So
Good,
it's
good,
been
good.
amazing having you. Is there anything you would like to share with the audience before we go?
Yeah, there is. For anyone listening, watching, whether you're an entrepreneur or not,
Mhm.
please feel free to reach out to me if I can provide any insight,
Yeah.
positive, anythings to help you get through your day, your week, your month, especially from a business perspective. I love to give free advice. I've built my career on relationships.
Mhm.
I think that they're super, super important.
Mhm.
And I think that the more that we can have, the better.
Yes.
So I encourage anyone who's thinking about starting a business or owns a business, if I don't have the resources, I'm pretty sure I know somebody who does, and I can help. So please use the contact us page on Meeschell.com. Send me an email, and I'm happy to jump on the phone or reply and help out.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you on
Thank
Disrupt Your
you.
Day, and looking forward to, again, following your journey as well as staying in touch.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening and letting us disrupt your day. Make sure and subscribe to our podcast. For the latest entrepreneur buzz, please sign up for our newsletter. The link is in the description. Remember, be the change you want to see in the world. Until next time.